Okay, we're going to get started in 2 minutes. 2 minutes when we're getting started. Okay, we are getting started with the learning of the Rambam. Please take your seats. Not going to sit there. Come closer. I need to charge my phone. I need to charge my computer. It's not convenient. The table should. What difference does it make? All these things. You're turning with your neck like this. Okay, no, stretch your necks. Everyone, let's begin the class. Let's stretch your necks. Stretch your necks like this. Yes, ready? Because you're gonna be sitting. Or just turn your chairs. Just turn your chairs. Okay. So we're gonna go over a few things. The first of them being, what is the idea of learning Maimonides? Because there's, not exaggerating, thousands, perhaps tens of thousands of Jewish books of Jewish authors. Why Maimonides? We're gonna go through this generation's particular need for learning Maimonides. Why now? I'm going to go through different ways to learn Maimonides. What exactly is what are my options for learning and how to learn, as well as the introduction that Maimonides gives from his own book. He gives his own introduction to his book. He explains why he's writing it and he explains for whom he's writing it. So we're going to go through all of these things together. But let's start with the idea of learning Maimonides, or perhaps let's start first with, I guess, why learn Maimonides. So the book of Maimonides is unique in that, let's take a step back. Has anyone heard of the Shulchan Aruch? Has anyone heard of this book, the Shulchan Aruch? The book of Jewish law. The book of Jewish law. They made a shortened version. Yeah, please mute yourself. They made a shortened version called the Kitzer Shulchan Aruch, which means the shortened book of Jewish law. But there's one thing that book and many other books like it have in common, and that is that they only cover the laws that are relevant for a Jew to know now. So there's, let's say, 613 mitzvahs, 200 or so of them are applicable today. We don't have a holy temple. We don't have offerings. We can't do many mitzvahs. So these books decided, look, Jews still have to follow the Torah. Jews still have important mitzvahs to do. Jews still have obligations. So let's teach them what they need to know. That's called the Shulchan Aruch, the book of Jewish law. And separate from this whole discussion, it'd be good for everyone to at least learn the shortened version of that, to know what exactly is my responsibility today. But the Rambam is different. Maimonides did not set out with the intent only of teaching Jews what they have to know. That's also covered. There's all the laws you need to know for a Jew today is in the Maimonides. We don't necessarily hold like his opinion and everything, but you will go through in the study of Maimonides, you will go through everything that is applicable. So there won't be any discussion. If you finish the Maimonides, no discussion will be foreign to you. When you go to a temple, wherever you visit, you bring up a certain law, it won't be foreign to you. You'll have an understanding and not just superficial understanding, and a detailed understanding of every possible Jewish halach if you go to Maimonides, including, and this is what's unique, including the laws that don't apply today. For example, you'll learn the laws about the Holy Temple. You'll learn how it was constructed. You'll learn what the Kohanim did every day. You'll learn the laws of, like we finished yesterday, the laws of when Mashiach will come. You'll learn about the laws of wars. You'll learn about the laws that are not necessarily applicable to a Jew living in America, but the laws that are covered by the Torah that Moses received at Sinai. You'll learn all of the laws that Moses received at Sinai. This is what's unique about Maimonides, and he himself states that this is his purpose, that a Jew should go from the Torah of Moses and go from the Torah of Moses to his book, which he calls the repetition of the Torah, and he'll know the entire Torah, not parts of it. The entire Torah will be under the Jew's grasp. So this is the Rambam's goal in writing his book, and that takes us to why specifically do we learn Maimonides and versus many of the other authors that we could be learning. And that is because the number one reason is that there's something called Jewish unity. Jewish unity is a very important idea. For we know when Jews are united, nothing can break us. Nothing can break the Jews when they stand together. This was the Lubavitch Rebbe's approach. That Jewish unity is says that we were exiled from literally the table of our father. We were kicked out of our father's house because we weren't acting right. It says because of baseless hatred, sinat chinam, because of baseless hatred, we were exiled from our father's house, meaning Israel and having the temple. So the solution that the Rebbe told us is that if with Jewish unity, by reuniting, we remove the cause of the exile, and therefore automatically we will come back to the home of our fathers, to the home of our father. When he sees the kids acting right, when the father's mad at the kids, he sends them away. He says, go and find them. When he sees they've improved their behavior, he removes the punishment and he brings them back. He says, okay. So the Rebbe was very big on Jewish unity. And the way we have Jewish unity, yes, is by coming together practically in person, meeting one another and speaking to one another. But through the Torah is the ultimate source of Jewish unity, because the Torah is connected to not just our bodies, it's connected to who we are as souls. So when we unite with the Torah, by learning the same chapters together, by learning the same laws as one people every day, day in, day out, this improves Jewish unity. And this brings us together in almost a metaphysical way, beyond just the borders of coming together in a room. You, by learning Maimonides, are uniting with the Jew in Thailand and the Jew in Mexico and the Jew. You're learning the same thing together. And hypothetically, you could have a conversation with them and call them and be like, "Hey, what did you think about today's Rambam, today's Maimonides?" You're learning the same Torah together, and that's very empowering and brings us together. So the whole Torah being learned as one, and every law of that Torah being learned as one. Because as we said, we could pick a different book. We could pick, I don't know, we could pick the Nachmanides. There's 100 years later, someone with a very similar name that throws people for a curve is Moses ben Nachman. There's Moses ben Maimon, who's the Maimonides. There's the Nachmanides. He was a more Kabbalistic author. Why don't we learn why don't we learn Nachmanides as Sefer? Why don't we learn the Rambam? And the answer is because the Rambam covers the whole Torah. So it's not just Jews coming together over Torah. It's Jews coming together over the entirety of the Torah. So the idea of fulfillment is maximized. You're getting the most bang for your buck with Maimonides over everyone else. And as we mentioned yesterday, through the Rambam's systematic approach, a Jew is able to go through the Torah in whatever level he is. So the scholar in Brooklyn, learning Maimonides, learns it with all of its depth. He'll go through every law and analyze it deeply. But that doesn't take away from the fact that a simple person, a child even, the Rebbe wanted children to learn, a child can learn the Rambam on his level. For this, the words are just the laws. It's straightforward. There's no back and forth, no arguments they need to dig into. You can learn the law of tefillin. Tefillin is a box. Law number one. It must be made of, I don't know, such and such many inches. Law number two. And sure, the scholar can look into it and start going through the sources. But someone like me or you can just go through and read it, and we'll read through all the laws of the Torah. And the Rambam in his introduction states why exactly these details are in a way needed, why he feels the need to write these laws. I don't think we'll have a problem relating to that, because his explanation more or less is that galut, exile, has become such a burden, and Jews must work, and they don't have the time to sit and learn so much. So the Rambam came around as a solution to that problem, to the fact that before Jews could sit and learn Torah the whole day, and therefore they were versed in the ability to extract the law from the Torah to the sages. They were able to learn the final law. But Rambam says now, which was 1200s and 1100s in Spain, now he says we can't do that anymore. So, but Jews should still know the whole Torah and fulfill their requirement to learn Torah. So therefore, I'm coming out with this book. So we'll read that in his introduction. Any questions? Questions, concerns, comments? Yes.
How much time is the minimum requirement? Is it all reading, or is it video? Is there audio?
Great question.
Etc. etc.
Great. I'm going to cover that right now. That was the next point. So ways to learn Maimonides. Let's say you're in. You say, I want to learn Torah all together with my Jewish brothers and sisters around the world. I want to go through the whole Torah. I'm in. How do I do it? So there are unbelievable resources. Because this was an initiative of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, just like this Chabad house is an initiative of the Lubavitcher Rebbe. It's done to the nines. You know, they say it's done. It's maxed out. There's videos every day. The daily video. There's a rabbi in he's now a blessed memory. His name is Rabbi Gordon. He was, and I believe is perhaps still, the teacher with the greatest impact that we have today, just because he has videos that are entertaining and fun. He has a good sense of humor, and it's every day. You can go to Chabad.org, and I'll send the link out, and you'll see a video of him going through that chapter of Rambam, that day's chapter, and you'll learn along with him. He'll go through every chapter, every law in English, and he'll explain it to at least a little bit, and that will provide you with everything you need to know. So that's if people like videos. Some people don't have time for videos or even audio. They're sometimes I have 20 minutes. So his videos are on average 30 minutes a chapter, 30 to 40 minutes a chapter, but you can read much faster than he talks because he reads the Hebrew and the English, Hebrew, English, because he wants to cover someone who wants the Hebrew as well. So sometimes I don't have time for the videos. So for me, it's faster to just pick up the book. So here's the chapter, here's the English translation of the book. This is one of 14 books, and it has the English and the Hebrew. I hope the video can see it. It has the Hebrew on one side, which I hardly look at because like I said, I don't have so much time in my day, but it has the English here translated with context and with notes in the bottom, which I really appreciate because it brings you, this is the custom of the Sephardim, this is the custom of the Ashkenazim, it brings down what we do today a lot frequently. So this is a book that's available for purchase, and they have this exact book is online. The Chabad.org uses, they tell you on the bottom, this is used with permission from this publisher. And they have this book online available on their website, Chabad.org, I think /daily study, as well as the app, which I think is called Daily Study.
An audio version of it?
And so the audio, if you go to Chabad.org /daily study, or you go to the app, the Daily Study app, they have a button on the bottom that says play. You hit play and it automatically plays this class by Rabbi Gordon going through that chapter. And you can do it, 2 times speed, which depends. My wife, who's not from America, she has trouble with 2 times speed. I need to listen at 2 times speed because I just like to hear it. So I like to go through fast. So you can do 2 times speed on the app, click a button, and yeah, when I'm driving, when I used to drive to Brooklyn every day for work, I would learn Rambam then on the way to work. And again, the class is very good if you have the time, or if you have the time, he gives jokes and it's fun, and you're going through it. It's really pleasurable. He gave it to an audience of a Chabad house. It wasn't to school. It wasn't to yeshiva students. It was given to a Chabad house audience that would come with a heavy. Felt like New Jersey accent. Yeah. From Philadelphia. He's from Newark. He is. Yeah. Yes.
When you have an option to speak your native language,
Yes.
and English, what language would you prefer?
I would prefer English.
English.
Yeah.
What do you think about us? Out of 8 people, 5 Russian speakers.
So you're saying, is it in Russian?
It's much easier for us to
It is. It's in Russian. It's translated in Russian.
That's what we need.
100%. It's translated in Russian. It's available on. You can buy the set online. I believe it's hot on sale. It's IsraeliBookstore.com. I think sells Russian books. $350. I think it was on sale for the whole set of Maimonides. $350 online. Chabad.ru, I believe, will have it translated in Russian. I'm sure. Chabad. What is it? That's a different website. Toldot is not. I do know. Yeah, I know about it.
Yeah,
But
they don't.
I don't. Perhaps they do. Absolutely. I know that Toldot Daru is not a Lubavitch organization. And the reason why we're so obsessed with Maimonides is because Lubavitch Rebbe said to learn Maimonides. What do you mean? Vayikra. Oh, I don't know. To be honest, I don't even know if Chabad Daru has it. However, I strongly assume Chabad Daru has it because.
Vayikra site has all Lubavitch.
Yeah. Okay.
I listen.
Okay. So yeah. So I would say, learn in whatever language makes sense to you. Because the point is not to read it in Hebrew. There's no mitzvah to read it in Hebrew. The point is to understand the Torah, like we mentioned earlier, to learn through the laws of the Torah. So time commitment. I'll be honest. You can read it in 5 or 7 minutes. You can just read it. If you're having a bad day, you're having a rough day. Ideally, you sit down. You have a set time to learn. That's the best. You sit every day with my morning coffee, middle of my Maimonides. That's the best. Sometimes you got a long day. Your kids, your parents, your friends are this, and you're just like, what do I do now? Personal advice: don't miss a day. Better just read the chapter in 5. You can read fast. In your native tongue, you can read fast. Read it in 5 minutes. And then do the next day. My advice is don't fall behind. So every day log in, make at the very least set 5 minutes in your day. You'll read through it. Ideally, give yourself more time to enjoy it. But every day, go through it and don't miss a day. Because when you fall behind, you get this the Yetzer Hara, the voice in your head says, you're already behind, lose it, forget about it. You have to fight that with all you can. So a lot of times, 10:45 at night, I'm exhausted. I just pick up my phone and while lying down, I go to the Rambam. It happens to everyone. They say if you're having a hard time, fall asleep, lie down with the Rambam. They say that's the best way to fall asleep. I had a friend in the Shiva. Yeah, that's what they say. So, right. So okay. So that's covered how to learn it. And now I would like to read. So do you all have the packet in front of you? Do you all have the packet in front of you as this is the introduction to Maimonides. This is the beginning of today's portion. So there's no days off, right? Yesterday we finished the last law of the laws of the kings and their wars. And today we're not, there's no day to celebrate. The next day is a celebration and the first chapter of the cycle. So this is the introduction. I believe this copy we have in front of us makes concise his introduction. Meaning this may be in fact some of tomorrow's portion as well in here. So if you're intending to use this as your first day's learning, I would say it's probably okay. But you're going to be learning some of tomorrow's portion and perhaps some of the days after portion, because in the division of the chapters, they made the introduction more than one day. They made the introduction more than one chapter, I believe. So let's for Zoom, I'm going to post it on share my screen. Yes.
Can we download this on our phone?
Can you download this on your phone? The app, yeah.
All
So
these lectures, because I have
what I'm saying right now, or you're saying study the Rambam.
Study Rambam.
So there's in English at least, there's an app called Daily Study. Sure, yeah. I'll show you how to get it on the App Store. I'll do that today. I'll show you how to get it on the App Store, the Daily Study app, and we'll go through that. So can someone on Zoom please tell me if you see my screen? If you see what I'm reading?
Yes.
You see my screen? Okay, good.
Yes.
So this is what was handed out for this class. So we're going to read it together in English. I'm not going to read the Hebrew, but it goes. The Rambam explains here, like I hinted at earlier. He explains the reason why he's writing this book, which, as someone who studies Maimonides, is very important, because you want to know what was his end goal, what was his goal as an author. Why did he decide to do this? And it gives context into what would be our goal, what should be our goal in learning it. So I'm going to ask who wants to read. Let's do page by page here to make it more interesting. Who wants to? Alex, you want to start reading? Read for us. Second, it says a second to the Torah, source 1. We're doing just source 1. So do the first page of source 1.
Moses, our teacher, personally transcribed the entire Torah before he died. He gave a Torah scroll to each tribe and placed another scroll in the ark as a testimonial. Deuteronomy 31:26 states, "Take this Torah scroll and place it beside the ark, and it will be there as a testimonial." The mitzvah, for the explanation of the Torah, he did not transcribe. Instead, he commanded it verbally to the elders, to Joshua, and to the totality of Israel. As Deuteronomy 13:1 states, "Be careful to observe everything that I prescribe to you. For this reason, it is called the oral law."
Okay, let's pause here for a second. Does everyone see what happened? Moses came down from Har Sinai, and he had with him the 10 Commandments. And he had with him the Torah, which he was teaching, which ultimately became the 5 books of Moses. He wrote the 5 books of Moses, dictated word for word by God. Right? Every word of the Torah is dictated by God, and that's why you can learn out all these unbelievable laws from the Torah. That's the 5 books of Moses, which is written in your Chumash. Together with the 5 books of Moses,